I'm going to start with a question to all of you. What would you do if I said that the world you're living in is going to change overnight? Any responses?
You will adapt it.
You will adapt? Okay. What else? Did we go through this sometime recently? Did we go through this sometime recently? Did the world change for us? So I think we all experienced this when COVID hit us very bad, right? A few years ago. Today we are all living in an era of transformation. That's a big word, right? Very loaded. And staying relevant is no more a choice, but a necessity. When we look around, what do we see in our world? We see web of disruptions. Technological advancement, AI is disrupting us in a big way, and we're just having a small chat around AI. We have geopolitical shifts, we have economic instability, we have climatic changes. All of these are not only impacting the industries around us, but also our career. Do you all agree? Yes, no? Yes. Right? So now the question is, there were a few statistics around this which caught my attention and I thought it's relevant to you people. One, in comparison to 15 years ago, youngsters like you people, when you join the workforce, you're going to hold twice as many jobs in your career. In a nutshell, you're going to have multiple career transitions. Unlike probably my grandfather and my father, who joined as a government servant and retired as a government servant. And the second statistic which caught my attention and I thought I should share it with you is by 2030, 70% of the skill sets, 70% of the skill set in terms of doing any job, be it personal or in your professional life, is all going to undergo immense transformation. So I'm scared of it now. Now the question is, I think we all need to ask ourselves is, how do we really stay ahead? How do we really build a career? How do we really grow? I think most of you are in the final year of the college today. So I'm Veena Ramagopalan and I'm going to talk to you about how to stay relevant in this rapidly changing world which is around us by sharing some of my own learnings and experiences from the different career transitions which I have made. I come from a very middle class South Indian family. The family which believed that excelling in academics is very, very important. And that rubbed down to all of us at home. And during my time, we had very limited career choices, unlike all of you. It was either engineering or you do medicine. It so happened that my elder sister joined medicine. So the default path chosen by others in my family and also me happened to be engineering. And that's how I landed in this college. I don't know how many of you know, I am very much part of this college. I graduated in 1991, years ago. In terms of all my career transition, when you look at it, even though I didn't have much clarity when I was in high school or in college, how my future is going to unfold. I just went with the flow. I still remember when I was in the final year, the only goal I had was to get a respectable job with a decent salary, like many of the students I was talking to in the morning. But in retrospect, when I look at my journey of 30 plus years, it's been very, very unique and unconventional. When I say unique and unconventional, I joined the Indian Navy and as a naval officer, and women in armed forces were unheard of during my time. Post that, I transitioned to corporate, did a very long stint in corporate, carried out senior strategic and leadership roles. industries. All of these career transitions came with its own challenges. Not that the ride was very smooth for me. And each of these challenges, I learned one lesson. It was very, very important for me to stay relevant. And I'm going to share with you all my key lessons which I learned on my way in terms of these key transitions. I not only, in terms of all of these transitions, in fact, it's one of my favorite, that I had to disrupt myself to stay relevant before I could get disrupted. So first lesson which I would like to share is how to be comfortable with uncomfortable. Whenever there's a change, whenever there's a disruption, we get very uncomfortable. How can you become comfortable with uncomfortable? I grew up in a family of 5 daughters, and my parents raised us to be very independent and confident individuals. In spite of that, I did face gender biases and stereotypes. There's one such instance I want to share here. While I was in school, we had this famous SUPW class, I don't know whether you people had in your school, called Socially Useful Productive Work, which was beyond academics. And in that class, the boys in my class got very cool stuff. Electronics lab, carpentry, whereas we girls were made to do cooking, baking, stitching, which I just hated. All these small little experiences deep inside triggered in me, and I always felt that I had to prove that women are as capable as men. During my growing up years, I was always fascinated by armed forces. The reason was also that my father and my grandfather both were from DRDO, which is Defense Research Development Organization. And I always watched men in uniform in close quarters. In fact, when an essay used to be written in school as to what do I want to become when I grow up, for some reason I used to always write that I want to be a fighter pilot. Even though women in armed forces were unheard of. It remained my dream because there was no opportunity for women in armed forces. I continued with a conventional journey and joined the job which I got through placement out here. But something changed. In March 1992, Government of India had decided to induct women in all 3 services, Army, Navy and Air Force. And Navy happened to bring their first head casket. This is the one. In fact, my father was so proud, he archived this for me. And when I came back from work and I saw this, without hesitation, I applied. I got selected, and I was one of out of 22 women who were selected to be part of the first batch of women officers in the Indian Navy across India. I not only broke the glass ceiling for myself, I also broke it for my family. Because I was the first one to be in the armed forces from my family as well. The journey in the Navy has been truly transformational for me. It literally laid the foundation for me in terms of the person who I am today. It pushed me out of my comfort zone completely, connected me to myself. You know, my peer speaker was talking about self-awareness. It literally connected me to myself. Also to the fears of mine, uncovered a lot of my fears. And also gave me opportunity to challenge a lot of my limiting beliefs and the strengths which I was not even aware of. In the Navy, I was thrown situations and experiences where I didn't even have time to think, and change was only constant. I would like to share one moment, which is like I call it as a defining moment, one of the defining moments in the Navy, which is the 250-kilometer trek. When I was a young lieutenant, posted in a staff appointment in a training establishment, me and my fellow Navy colleagues were tasked to take around 150 men on a 250-kilometer trek. And when this event was being flagged off, that's the picture you see here, there were few fellow peers of mine who walked up to me and said, Veena, let us know when you would like us to send you the helicopter so that we can get you back. I did not react. I continued to walk. And believe me, it was not me who returned back. It was my fellow male colleague who returned back. I completed this grueling 250-kilometer trek in spite of blisters on my feet. This experience changed completely the way my peers, my seniors, and the way I looked at myself. So guys, magic lies when you push yourself outside your comfort zone. That's where the growth really happens. Now I want to ask all of you, what's your 250-kilometer trek which you want to start today? And what is that first step you were to take, which is beyond your comfort zone, which will take you towards your growth? Moving on, my next lesson which I want to share is about embracing lifelong learning. Now most of us believe that once we are done with schooling or college, our education ends. How many of us believe that? Okay, so no answer, so that means you will continuously learn. So we all believe that the moment we are done with formal education and exams and all of that, the learning ends. But in reality, learning is a lifelong process. And the moment you stop learning, you become irrelevant and probably obsolete as well. There's one thing which helped me to do this continuous learning. As a child, I was always fond of these three words: why, what, and how. Believe me, these three words actually became my asset in terms of all my career transitions, in terms of acquiring the new skills which were necessary. In fact, in the corporate, I still remember when I had to shift from a product domain business to a service domain business. The technology was new, the processes were new, the industry jargons were new, the environment was new, everything was new. How did I adapt quickly? First, I went around with all my stakeholders and spoke to all my peers to really accelerate the learning. I went with a very open mind to understand the new perspective and the big picture. And third, last but not the least, I asked questions without pretending that I know everything. It's okay to put yourself and be vulnerable at times if it's important for you to adapt. The next lesson I want to share is shifting from problem mindset to solution mindset. I'm very glad that I had mentors early in my career where whenever I went to them with any problem, they would ask me this question: Veena, are you coming with problems or possible solution? See the difference. This simple question helped me to look at challenges very differently. I embraced it with a very open mind and a growth mindset and looked at challenges, whatever comes. Challenges will be there, but with a very strong belief as a leadership coach, I can only do a good job and create an impact only if I do an in-person interaction. That's a word I believe in. And the COVID came. We didn't have any in-person interaction. My business pipeline suffered. My work suffered. In fact, there were a lot of people around me who were trying to advise me to look for other career options. Because I just started my entrepreneur journey at that point of time. I did not give up. I only did a small little tweak in terms of reframing the perspective. More so, I would say shifting my mindset. I reframed the perspective. I reframed the perspective from I can't to how can I. This change, simple change in the perspective, actually helped me to explore this whole new virtual world in a very different way. It not only helped me to make sure that my work and the pipeline was getting built, but also helped me to expand my business to global audience. This little small tweak which I did, if I had not looked at and focused only on solutions, this wouldn't have been possible. I couldn't have moved forward. Probably I would have delayed my career. So I'm going to end by saying this famous expression which I always say, future belongs to those who dare, adapt and evolve. I have gone through my journey of being a naval officer to being a corporate leader to an entrepreneur. And all of these has taught me one lesson. Staying relevant is not a choice, guys. It is a necessity. And I'm going to leave you all with one question. Will you let, because a change is coming for all of us with AI disruption. Will you let change define you, or you will define yourself? Thank you.